In this video I'm going to take you through a Season 8 Minion leveling build that you can use. So in the video here I'm basically just showing you a setup I've used in the current season. I wasn't using any witch powers, and you basically melt all the content, so it's going to be a great leveling build to use. It's only going to get better with all the Season 8 things that are coming with the boss powers. Now I have a link in the description to the leveling build guide that you can use for this. So you can go through into the website here and get all the information required for the build. So a few key aspects: there's going to be no uniques required for this build, so it's purely focused on just your normal aspects to make it easier for leveling. We're only using blue boss powers because they're going to be the easier ones to get in the beginning. Pure minions to allow easier playstyle. We are using Iron Maiden due to some of the essence issues you have with some of the aspects that we're using. Now in terms of the skills, we've got the Iron Maiden, Blight, Ray Skeleton, Golem, Corpse Tendrils, and Soul Rift. Now in terms of the Book of the Dead, we're using the cooldown for the Skeletal Reapers, we're using the Shadow increased damage for the Skeletal Mages, and we're using the Bone Golem with the ability to shed corpses. In terms of the aspects you're going to want to be using, so there's no uniques required as stated. In here you basically want to be using the aspect of Cult Dominion for the increased warriors and mages, the Blood Getters aspect for the increased healing and power you're going to get from that, Frenzy Dead for the attack speed, aspect of the Cursed Aura. Now this is so that we can apply both Decrepify and Iron Maiden without using the skill. We're not actually going to have Decrepify on our skill bar, so this is how we're going to be able to apply that. The Aphotic aspect, this is so that our Skeletal Warriors are going to be doing shadow damage, which ties in well with the rest of the build. Aspect of the Great Feast, so we're getting a lot of extra damage here, but we are going to be losing that essence per second, which is why we're using the Iron Maiden skill on our skill bar instead of Decrepify. On our amulet, we're using Grasping Veins for the critical strike chance and damage, aspect of Reanimation from extra damage, and aspect of the Damned because we're primarily going to be doing shadow damage and the enemies are going to be cursed. Now in terms of runes, I have put in what runes you can aim for later on. However, you're not going to be using these straight up in the early game, but they are here for a bit later once you start unlocking some of these more powerful runes to use. In terms of boss power, so the main boss power in here, I've just got in here for the increased movement speed, and then this one you can easily swap out for some of the more rare ones once you start unlocking them, which are going to give you more damage buffs, but until then I'd be using this for the increased movement speed for when you use your shadow skills. Then the modifiers you're going to be able to keep even when you switch out the main power one, because this will help you deal extra damage with your summons. You're going to be increasing your attack speed because we're going to have enemies crowd controlled, and also help increase your vulnerable damage. So overall, it's a very simple minion build. It's easy to build for leveling and it has a fairly simple game loop. You can start off cursing enemies with Iron Maiden to get the amplifying damage buff and help direct your minions to attack. Use your active Golem skill to place the corpses near a group of enemies. You can then use Corpse Tendrils and then use Blight under higher health enemies to get that damage buff to the minions, and then just using your ultimate whenever required or available. In terms of the skill tree in there, we've obviously taken Blight for the increased damage. We're taking Hued Flesh just so we get the lucky chance for corpses. Taking through a lot of the passes in the second section, as well as Fueled by Death. Although we don't have Decrepify on our skill bar, you do want to unlock it so that when you get the Cursed Aura, you are getting the additional buff from that. We are taking a lot of the darkness damage buffs because both our Mage and Skeletal Warrior are going to be dealing shadow damage, so you're going to get that increased buff. And then you want to be making sure that you are getting your Hellbent Commander and the new Kalen's Edict, because that's going to be well suited to this build going forward. There is a leveling path in here that you can tick on to take you through all the different skill points as you level up. In terms of Mercenary, you want to be getting right here. Now going through this path as shown, this does give you some opportunities to deal increased damage, which is great. And then Varana, we're using the Bloodthirst skill, which is going to help us get an attack speed buff. You can just link this to your Blight skill or Iron Maiden skill to make that easier to activate. Now if you did find this video useful, do remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons.